The Thursday, August 22nd, 2024 special meeting of the Paris City Council is hereby called to order at 5:30 p.m. For the purpose of this meeting, there is a quorum of the council present. Agenda item number 2, invocation. Mr. Gene Anderson will deliver the invocation. Please rise.
May we pray? Heavenly Father, as always, we thank you for your multiple blessings upon our lives. We thank you for intervening on our behalf. We thank you for, Father, giving us guidance and wisdom and making abundant provision for us. We pray for our council tonight as they conduct the city business, that you would guide and direct them and let everything be done according to your will. For we ask it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. We'll do the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Agenda item number 3, Citizens Forum. Persons desiring to address the council must limit their presentation to no more than 2 minutes. Unless an item is posted on the agenda, the Texas Open Meetings Act prohibits the council from responding to any comments other than to refer the matter to a future agenda item, to an existing policy, or to a staff member with specific factual information. Claims against a city council members or employees, as well as individual personal appeals, are not appropriate for a citizens forum. If necessary, the City Council may convene into executive session under Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code regarding any item on this agenda. The public forum is now open. If there is anyone who wishes to address the council, please come forward and state your name and address for the record.
Alvin Atwood, 2419 Bonham Street. Hi, y'all. I got a couple of things I want to go to talk to the council about. As I've been speaking to several members, first I want to start out with a simple statement of ambition should never override empathy. And I'll leave you with that on that note. Secondly, I think I just talked to the information person, information given to the citizens. I know y'all know about the recent cards uprising of everybody. I was one of them that got mad. And then it was explained to me why. And I was no longer angry. I understood. I got it. I think if information is given to your citizens over your actions and easily available, not something we have to dig, it's actually put out there for everybody to read, I think that's real good. A good step in the right direction for, keep everybody understanding, because as you can see, not everybody comes. There's 26,000, ain't even 26,000 seats. Another thing I think I've seen that I wanted to address y'all about a long time ago is each one of y'all are volunteers, and we appreciate it. Just remember that you're here to represent us, and that these 5-0 and 4-0 and 6-0 votes, that's concerning. My favorite thing about you is that I have seen you argue for what you believe in is right, and it's not always just yay, voting with the majority. I love that about you and that passion, and I'm glad you're still sitting there. Another thing I seen on y'all's budget, to where y'all are trying to clean up some properties and move money for that. I think somebody should probably go try to talk to the sheriff. We used to have it to where he would send out some of the inmates in there sitting out minor times, and that saved the city a lot of money. I think, maybe work out some kind of deal versus how much we're paying for our crews to go out there and how much it would cost to hire an officer just for a babysitter. I think, weigh that up and see what y'all could do there. I'm out of time. I appreciate it. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you. Please.
I'm Tommy Haynes, 3095 Abbott Lane, Paris, Texas. I'm here to speak on behalf of Larry Shank, who called me at 3:15 this afternoon. He has had an emergency, and he called from out of state for a family health emergency. So he will not be here tonight, and he asked me if I would thank the mayor, city council, city staff and all of the people in, of the retirees that have been coming. I'd like to second the motion to what he said, thanking all of you for listening to us all through these seems like months. But I want you to know that we really appreciate what y'all have done. I'd like to ask, would the retirees of the city supporting the COLA please stand and be recognized? Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Jimmy Steed, 9499 Firehouse Road in Powderly. I'm here to speak in support of the COLA, and I apologize in advance. You probably heard what I'm already going to say. I just wanted to know you first, I appreciated how hungry y'all were Monday for information. Most people think because you're on the city council, you know everything there is to know about the city, and we know how difficult it is for you to find the information. You had to dig, and I saw y'all digging Monday. I appreciate that. Monday, some of you spoke rightfully about how much inflation hurts the employees. I just ask you to consider that not only this year's inflation, but the last 20 years on top of it, how it's affected the retirees who have not had a single cost of living raise in those 20 years. I retired after a little over 30 years at the Paris Police Department, so you can imagine how much I respect law enforcement. The overwhelming majority of the retirees that I saw here Monday, and probably still so today, gave the best years of their life working at the Paris Police Department for a fraction of the numbers that we've been talking about. I know that I see and you see people on TV talking about the government's rich retirement programs and how everyone is getting wealthy. Just for your information, there's all different ways people draw the retirement and types, their age affects it. But after 30 years, 3 months, and 14 days, not that I counted, of service at the police department, my retirement is less than half of what I was making when I retired. So no one is really getting rich and trying to pile on. They're just asking for what they feel is right. I thank you. I appreciate your time. I'll just say that just because something's hard doesn't make it less important. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Tiny Freeland. I live at 804 12th Northeast. Worked for the city for over 20 years. I started when I was 18 years old at the city and worked my way up from the bottom to when I left. But I hadn't had, after I retired in 06, and I hadn't had a cost of living raise. My check has never went up since 06. I never got a raise. But I just ask you, I want y'all to, I'm thankful that y'all are listening to us. I'm thankful that we have a voice to say, and I hope y'all will approve it and help us out because we really need it this day and time because all the stuff going up, everything's going up. I mean, and I thank y'all for just listening to us, and I enjoyed the city. The city made me a living, fed my family, and I was proud to be a worker at the city, and I'd probably be employed at the city. I worked for the traffic division at the city. And I was proud to be that and proud of the people I worked with. And I still got friends working there now. But I thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Evening, my name's Bob Hunley, 130 County Road 43010 in Powderly. I wanted to share just real quick because I know y'all are getting beat to death with this stuff. I started work for the city of Paris in the police department in 1975. And when I started out, the pay was $566 a month. And so I've seen that grown a lot over the years. And the main problem we have, and I'm going to just take off on what Chief Salter was talking about the other night, there's hardly an officer in Lamar County that was not hired and trained by the Paris Police Department before they went someplace else. And so I throw that back on you again just to come back to recruitment and retention. And The salaries, we're going to leave that in y'all's capable hands. But the benefits package, when you throw anything else in there that you can entice somebody, not only to come to work for the City of Paris Police Department, but stay there. Because I promise you, and y'all are all professionals, do you want somebody handling your work that's got 2 years experience or 3 years experience? Okay, it's just simple as that. So retention is a very big part of this. I appreciate y'all. This is the first time I've been in a lot of council meetings. I've seen a lot of councils. Y'all have been more inquisitive and interested in what was going on than I've seen before, so we certainly appreciate that. And we'd ask that you approve the COLA for the retirees. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else?
Stephen Red Holmes, 146 County Road 43600. I retired in 2006 after 28 years. I didn't have a choice. I was in a major accident, fought for my life. 3 times I died on the table. But my retirement is $1,400 a month. When I went to work here, it was $750 a month. Like Bob Hunley said, this is the first council we've had in a long time that would listen to us. I wish the other council members previous, but they started cutting our benefits. You know, we was guaranteed we was going to have health insurance afterwards. Thank God I got disabled and Medicare picked me up. But I know you was riding a good horse to death, you would get up here and ask you. But, you know, every one of y'all, a lot of you I knew, y'all was praying for me. And we've been praying for y'all because it's not an easy job sitting there at the council. But I hope and pray that y'all do what's right and help the retirees and the current employees. I mean, they had the retirees stand up. This is a benefit for current employees to help retain them. It's not just about the money. They need these benefits. And we have to tighten our belts. I understand that. And, you know, do it to the new people. Just say, hey, you're not going to have that benefit if we have to tighten our belts and shorten it. But don't do it on the ones that have been dedicated to answer response to y'all's houses and businesses over the years. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Citizens Forum is now closed. Agenda item number 4, discuss and provide direction on the fiscal year of 2024-2025 budget for the City of Paris. Staff, do you have a presentation, please?
Mayor, members of council, you are presented with the proposed budget for fiscal year 24-25 on August 12th. At that meeting, and this is our second budget workshop with our first one on Monday. And most of you have been able to meet with Finance Director Gene Anderson and myself throughout this week. I think we just have one left, and hopefully we'll be able to meet with that person to answer all of your questions, provide additional information, and get you the information that you need to be able to make the best decision that you possibly can. During these meetings, we focused on the big ticket items, the police salary increase, the COLA for the retirees, and then also the updated service credits for the current employees. Since our first budget workshop meeting, which was Monday, City Attorney Harris has cut, one thing we'd bring attention to, has cut a total of $15,000 from her budget, $10,000 from the media legal books line, and another $5,000 from contract services line item. $10,000 of that will move to contract lot mowing with code enforcement, and then $5,000 will go back into general fund. So before we discuss the topics of salary and COLA and the big ticket items that we spent a lot of this week on, we do have department heads and some superintendents here this evening. If that being said, if there's any questions that council may have for them with capital projects or line items, specifically line items, that's why they're here, and they'll be happy to answer questions or provide any additional information that you might need.
So we'll go ahead and open up the floor for anything that council wants to throw out there, in particular to take out and have a good, robust discussion regarding any capital projects in particular.
I did have a question regarding the EMS.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, it's on page of revenue. page 3. The proposed budget for revenue in 2025 is $4,178,000. And then, but expenditures, it's page 59. The expenditures of that department will be $4,900,004.839. It's a deficit of about $800,000. So I was just curious, are we charging the right rates for insurance, or it's a big hole that the city has to pay for, so.
Yes, ma'am. Most of that is made up through the collections, and we are charging the standard rates based on what our collection company, Emergicon, our third-party collection agency, has told us. We're comparable to other cities across the state of Texas. And right now, for the upcoming fiscal year, our projected collections we're bumping $4 million just from Emergicon, and then we have the county contract as well coming in on top of that to subsidize that as well. So we're looking at being able to probably bring in 4.5 as far as actual revenue generated for next year total.
So then it would just be a deficit of $400,000?
Yes, ma'am.
You think?
Yes, ma'am.
In that, planning for that, what obvious deficits do you know that you will not get reimbursed for in the line of work?
There are a lot of the insurance companies that just pay small amounts, and then there are some that pay next to nothing. And then we deal with a lot of Medicaid and Medicare reimbursements, which are lower than a lot of the insurance companies. So that's where a lot of the deficits come from, is from the Medicare payments. Even though right now our patient mix, the payer mix on this is we're about 70% Medicare patients in EMS right now. So that's where a large part of that deficit comes from, is because of that large Medicare payer portion.
All right.
But I'd like to add too, I'm sorry, that 3.7 projected collections from Emergicon, that's a conservative estimate. We're already at that plus some for this year. So I expect that number to continue to go up as well. So.
All right. How's your staffing in EMS?
EMS we're fully staffed right now. We're good on staffing.
And then what about the fire department? What is your staff?
We're fully staffed in the fire department as well right now.
And sorry, you're still in the hot seat. The overtime pay for the fire department
Yes, ma'am.
is up $50,000 from last year's budget.
Mm-hmm.
If you do have a full staff, why do you need the extra overtime?
At one point,
And I know it's a small dollar amount, but that could also be transferred over to Public Works or any of the other departments that, we'd like to see improvements in, so.
Yes, ma'am. And at one point, we had several people out on injury leave as well as sick leave. And right now, at full staffing, I have barely enough to cover everything. So when I have people taking vacation days and holidays, and then I have a couple of guys go out on injury leave, that causes us to have overtime in our department. Then on top of that, we've had a couple of mobilizations to help with West Texas fires, and that money is recouped. Sometimes it takes us a little while to get that money back, but that money is paid back into the budget from the state, from TDM.
Yes. Again, in all of these departments, we are looking for those small dollar amounts to transfer to things that all of our taxpayers want to see. And my position is that I'm asking, and I'm sure, our Grayson and our city manager have gone to everybody, but there are still little dollar amounts that if we could fund those into some of the code enforcement and the West Paris need, because we've heard a lot about that this year as well. I'm asking that the budget reflect that.
Yes, ma'am.
I did have one quick question.
Yes, sir.
Regarding the expenses for EMS, I know Emergicon came out at $350,000 anticipated. Why such an increase? Just out of curiosity.
Because our collections are up and they collect on a percentage basis.
Gotcha.
That's actually a good thing that their budget line is increasing because they're bringing in a lot more money than they have in the past for us. Our collections have increased quite a bit.
Good deal. Just wanted to check in and see. I
Yes,
saw
sir.
that number to be pretty high, and I was like, oh, let me, just out of curiosity.
Yes, sir,
Thank
it
you.
is.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Well, maybe I just need clarification
Yes,
on the county side.
Yes, ma'am.
The EMS is included in county expenditures and revenue, is that correct?
We have-
The EMS is.
Yes, ma'am. We have a county contract that allows us to respond out into the county, and they have I would have to reach out to Mr. Anderson to elaborate on how that percentage or how that grows every year. For next year, it's going to be $465,000 is what we will collect from the county.
From the county.
From the county for us running EMS services into the county. And that number does increase yearly, but I don't know.
It's increased based on the Consumer Price Index, and the specific index is named in the contract. And so, in recent years, it's been, I think the biggest year's been 5% because inflation's been up. But it's, historically, it's not quite that much, more like 3% or something. But we do adjust it every single year under the contract.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
What part of the year do you pay overtime the most? What part?
That's going to
It's
vary
really
so
depends.
much depending on when people are sick or when they are out on injury leave. I had one firefighter that was out injured in the line of duty, and he was out from April up until just this past month. So, I mean, it's really hard to say what time of the year. We manage our staffing the best we can. I have 16 men per shift on the fire department, and we have a minimum staffing of 14. But that allows us to have 2 off on vacation or holiday at any one time, but then if somebody's sick or somebody's got something else going on with an injury or anything, that creates overtime just to keep the normal staffing, and it varies from different parts of the year based on what their injuries and illnesses are.
Okay, thank you.
So for a city our size, do they have the same allotted number of fire staff?
Yes, ma'am, and then some. Actually, according to national standards, we are understaffed. I mean, I don't want to sound like an alarmist, and, I mean, the fires are out, we're taking care of business, but we are actually understaffed by national standards. I can't put enough people on the fire grounds on a residential or a commercial structure right now within the allotted time frame just to meet the national standards.
What is the national standard?
The national standard is for me to put 16 people within 8 minutes on the fire ground just on a commercial, a residential fire. On a commercial fire, it's in like 22. I can't do that unless I'm 100% staffed and no one is off. Now, we can get them there pretty quick. We call in overtime as necessary, but right now, like I said, as far as staffing goes, we're taking care of business, but we're understaffed by standards.
Is that 16 people no matter the size of town?
Yes,
or-
ma'am.
Okay.
That's NFPA standards, 1710.
Well, your firefighters responded very quickly to my emergency this week.
I'm glad
So,
they
yeah,
did.
and it was nice.
Good.
Yeah, they were there in 6 minutes.
That's awesome.
So I appreciate it.
Thank
If you'll
you.
pass the word.
I will. Thank you.
Anyone else? Chief, I think you're off the hot seat for now.
Thank you.
Thank you. I did have one thing that I wanted to bring up, and this has been this week, actually, and I know we've discussed this as a council before too, but very briefly. We've seen a lot of transition within staffing and within council too. I think it's important for us to have a strategic plan that we sit down as a council, as a staff, and have a good understanding of what is our plan, what is our vision, what is our mission behind the direction of where we're going as a city. I had a great conversation with Mr. Williams yesterday regarding our city manager search, and I know we all did. We all had a great one-on-one with him, but he pointed that out, and I said, absolutely. And we really need to try to find an area to budget for this, and especially with a new city manager potentially coming up here in the near future. So this is a big time also for a replacement for Gene. So we've got to have our heads in the same direction, look at it, and reach for that goal together, from one department to another, to all the way down to the citizens. We've got to make sure that everyone has that same goal and vision in mind. And I think that that's super important, that we try to allocate some fees onto that.
I was going to expand on that. Yes, we had the same. Mr. Williams was brilliant. I feel very confident with Baker Tilly. We have made the right choice as far as to find the next city manager. And the second thing we talked about after the vision is a budget that reflects that vision. My position on the COLA is it feels like it's rushed because we have not, one, identified why it was stopped in 2008. And secondly, we are in a transition period, and with that new city manager, I feel like that is an opportunity to find funds for future projects that we want to see the city grow and expand and diversify. So I think we have another year to look at that, and I just encourage the council to think about it before you make your decision, because it is $1.1 million indefinitely. That, you know, I respect everybody in this room, but it's only a certain amount of people. It's not every taxpayer in the city. And I'm thinking about the people who aren't in the room. So.
Mr. Anderson, to that point, are we able to understand a little bit more about the question that was asked of why this COLA was stopped in 2008? I know that's a complicated question, but.
Yeah, it was 16 years ago, and my memory's a little fuzzy that far back, but I'm sure it was probably a budgetary issue that had appeared at the time. That's the most likely cause. In 2004, when they took it off automatic repeating, the council that was on it at that time just thought our benefits were, you know, a little more than they should be, so they trimmed, you know, and they cut it where you had to vote on it every year. And it was awarded the first 4 years after they did that, and then after that it's when it stopped. But I can't give you anything more specific than that.
Thank you.
Mr. Anderson, can you give us a little bit of details on the service credits, how those work and how that increases?
Okay. The updated service credit, you know, is sort of complicated. I don't know if I think we've given these out at some point or sent them out to the council. This is TMRS's explanation of what an updated service credit is. If you don't mind, I'll read parts of it, because I think when in our individual meetings, I gave my version of what it is, and maybe if you haven't heard what TMRS says it is. It says updated service credits is a financial credit that can increase your benefit at retirement based on changes in your salary or your city's retirement plan. Each city has to vote to do it, and most cities do updated service credits. How is it calculated? And I guess this is probably the key question. Said TMRS calculates updated service credit each January by comparing your current TMRS retirement cash balance to a hypothetical balance using your city's current plan design and your average salary for the last few years. If the hypothetical cash balance is greater, you'll receive and you'll be awarded an updated service credit. To determine your average salary, the most recent year of the salary isn't used, and the 3 years prior are averaged together. TMRS uses that average monthly salary in your city's current plan to determine what your cash balance would be if you had made that salary and received those benefits for your entire city tenure and received 3% annual interest on your account. Okay. If the hypothetical cash balance is greater than your actual cash balance, the difference is multiplied by the USC percentage your city has adopted. It's either 50, 75, or 100%. And the USC earns 5% annual interest and can be replaced by a higher updated service credit in the future. I believe when we had that benefit in the past, it was 100%. What's been talked about and bannered around is at 50% and not 100. Updated service credit is added to your TMRS cash balance when you retire and included in retirement estimates that you can run on TMRS online. You can get an estimate online. That's not information that we keep here since it's a state-managed plan, but I did exchange emails with a lady that works at TMRS, and she sent me some information that I guess I can share with you to give you some idea of the impact. There are several factors that will affect the updated service credit. People who have been employed here back before updated service credits were stopped, that still factors in what their retirement check's going to be. So anybody hired after that time, the impact of the updated service credit will be less just because they won't have all that history of updated service credits. Another factor that will impact it is age. TMRS, when they calculate our retirement benefit, they look at an actuarial table as part of that and says, well, how much longer is Gene Anderson going to live based on actuarial tables? And they'll have for a 70-year-old man, he's expected to live 8 more years or whatever it is. And that's factored in as well. But anyway, she gave me 3 examples. One was a 30-year city employee who, if we granted the updated service credit this January at 50%, this person would get a $476 increase in their monthly retirement check, or $5,712 in a year. A 20-year example that she gave, the monthly increase would be $111 or $1,332 in a year. And a 10-year example only came up $33 a month, or $396 a year. Obviously, somebody who's been here less than 16 years would fall in that second group that doesn't have that previous credit, that helps boost that up. That's why you see the big difference in those monthly amounts. It's a lot of moving parts, and it's, complicated.
When did you say it was 100% funded, our retirement?
Ma'am?
It was 100% funded at one time, or no?
Our TMRS currently is slightly over 100% funded. Yeah.
I believe the updated service credits at one point was 100% years ago.
Yeah.
And any other questions? Thank you so much. So I want to go back to the same question of capital projects. Is there any other department that we would like to talk to before we The goal in this is to discuss the capital projects and talk to our department heads, make a decision on what we want to do going forward. And the whole goal behind all of this is so that way Gene and Rob have something to prepare for us for Monday so we can pass the budget forward. But after we go over capital projects, if no one has anything else, we'll go from capital projects to accepting the proposed budget regarding line items as presented, accept the proposed personnel reassignments that were discussed. There's 2 employees, and then starting salary for police, going into the COLA, and then talking about updated service credits, a USC that we were just referring to for current employees. So we'll continue on the capital projects. If there's anything else that we'd like to question, ask any questions to any of our department heads that are in front of us today. And if not, then we'll go ahead and move to accepting the proposed budget regarding the line items that were presented. So essentially, the budget that sits before us today, is that correct, Rob?
Yes.
That's what you're looking for?
Minus the small adjustment in Stephanie's, and then also the transfer to mowing.
Okay.
That will be adjusted.
Okay. Do you need a motion and all of that? You need a full vote for this, or are you just looking for direction?
Direction.
Okay.
When we get to the last 3, then we will
Have a vote.
Yes.
Okay. So
Last 4, excuse me.
is there anything in particular that council sees that we need to take out in terms of anything that's been presented within the budget thus far?
I do have one question in regard to health insurance. I know there's an extra $25 budgeted for that, and obviously we don't have a renewal yet. If the renewal comes in at the same number, is that going to be put into employees' HRAs, or is that going to go back to the general fund?
Gene, would you mind responding to that, please, sir?
If the stipend that the city budgets for an individual exceeds the premium, what historically happens, if they're on the high deductible plan, they have an HSA account associated with that, and that excess would go in their HSA account. If it's not a high deductible plan, it probably has an HRA connected to it. They could direct it that way, or they can apply it toward a dependent premium.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gene.
All right. Any other questions on any other line items within the budget that we don't accept?
I mean, I would like to see the $50,000 overages to go to Public Works and transferring it from the fire department.
I don't have an issue with that.
Okay. I would say noted, but I would caution us cutting our overtime budget drastically, because if we do need it and we don't have it, we will have to pull that money back from somewhere else, but noted.
Okay.
Is that something that we can discuss? I know it was just presented today, but is that something we could discuss more in depth on Monday before we take that final vote?
Certainly.
Okay. Is that fair?
Sure.
Okay. Anyone else? So it sounds, please. Yes.
I don't know if I agree with taking the overtime money. I don't agree with that.
That's okay. It's just noted.
Okay.
We're not voting on it.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
Okay. Moving on to the next item. So we're good on the budget as it sits currently. Want to talk a little bit about the proposed personnel reassignments that were discussed within the memo. We have 2 employees. Rob, would you like to kind of discuss a little bit more, elaborate a little bit more on this?
Sure. One is Brian Dabbs. He's currently in our IT department, and he will be moving from his current position to handle basically cybersecurity. and will be heading up that section of IT. He has a strength and a lot of knowledge in that area. We will increase his ability and his skills as well. And then also not just, he will be in charge of handling and teaching other employees how to handle cybersecurity, and then also how to recognize it, how to prevent it. So that will be his main objective, main center of approach or concern. Our second is Bill Loranger. He's been Parks Superintendent for 29 years, correct? Not 24 as it stated the other day, so I apologize for that. The proposed move is to move him to Public Works Assistant Director. As the Public Works Director, Michael Smith, has had another division placed underneath him. He's got more supervision, more responsibilities, more areas of responsibility. This will allow him to have someone to come in and help out with some of those larger administrative type projects.
So that's kind of up to our discretion to kind of say yay or nay on. So I just kind of wanted to get a general sentiment on this. I know that there have been a few other employees that council has been pretty vocal about to say, hey, we would like to see them get up there, and they've really shown a passion. And I know that's kind of out of our purview to be able to select and say, hey, let's do a spotlight on this individual. But we've already kind of shown those, and you know, as mayor and in discussions with council, I know we've had that discussion just to kind of put that out there to look if we can work on those individuals going forward for the next budget year, just to see what we could do to have those discussions for them and be able to advance those too.
Certainly.
Is there anything in particular we want to discuss regarding the reassignments of these two employees? And if not, then we're effective to go forward with that.
Thank you.
Now, this is
Have those reassignments already occurred?
No, ma'am, they have not. They're in the proposed budget because they are proposed. They have not happened yet.
And the difference in salaries?
I'm sorry. For Bill Loranger, it is $7,200, and for Brian Dabbs, it would be $4,600. And that is on page 16 of your executive summary page, just for future reference.
Yeah, that's right. It's on that
Capital
Excel sheet. Yeah, right. The second to last and the third to last line items. Okay. Now we will move on to the starting salary for police. I know that this has been a topic that we have been discussing, and now's the time for us to come to a conclusion on this. So is there anyone that feels inclined on a particular number? The numbers that we've been discussing, just to recap, have been $66,000, $68,000, and $70,000.
So I'm happy to start this off.
Please.
My focus on this budget is basically for the police increase, and my recommendation is the 70. I think that puts us more in line maybe with some of the areas closer to us, and to get hopefully up in staff, from the 15 at least start that. I know that it probably takes about a year to get a policeman vetted, trained, and then on. So, we're talking about a year from now, or from a year from the time that we pass this budget. I'd like to ask Chief Salter if he would, I asked the fire chief about his staff and what is the national standard, and if we're meeting that, what What is the national standard for police?
For police, there's no national standard that I know of. We're supposed to be staffed with 10 officers per patrol shift. We have 4 patrol shifts. Right now, we have 4. We're pulling our officers. They are working their days off. They're working overtime. That's why our overtime budget is so high. Our problem is retention. It's recruitment and retention. And so I'd love to have 16 officers per shift.
So we had some numbers that were given to us from some cities, but I know that there are some cities closer to us and that maybe I didn't have those numbers too, and I was wondering if you do, or like maybe the direction more that Paris goes when people leave town than.
So it's the closer you go to Dallas, the higher the pay goes. The departments that were presented in the last meeting are not our competition. Some of those 8 cities are 3 hours away. I don't know how they were selected. I think they were on a previous year's budget. But they're not any competition to us. The competition regionally, our local competition is the real problem for retention. And that is, until we can establish a good pay gap between us and Lamar County, we're going to continue to lose officers at a high rate, faster than we can recruit them and fill an academy. And it's like you said, it takes a year to hire an officer, train him, and get him on the street on his own at a cost of about $100,000 if you factor in their training, their travel, and their salary. When they finish and they're on their own, they are being actively recruited by 4 school districts and the Lamar County Sheriff's Department. So that's $100,000 that we just lost because then that's where we're losing most of our officers locally. They were born here, they were raised here, and this is their home. If they want to, tomorrow, a 3-year officer can go 90 miles west and make $40,000 more a year in several departments. There's, the McKinney, Denison, Sherman, all those departments pay considerably more than Paris PD. And if the thing is, our officers stay home. So our real problem is local competition. Regional competition is out there. We are not well paid compared to those cities between us and Dallas. If you were to line them up, we'd be closer. We would be maybe 2 from the bottom on those. Bonham is right neck and neck with us, and they're our closest. Greenville is considerably higher than us, and they have a resolution or ordinance in place where if their local competition gets a raise, then they raise their officers' pay equal to that amount so that they don't lose officers to those local departments. Because the closer you get to Dallas, the stiffer the competition gets. And right now, there's such a national shortage on police officers. Departments, higher paying departments are stealing officers from lower paying departments. And that's going to be that way until the profession, until our profession becomes popular again. And that's the bottom line. It's not a popular profession right now. There's 2.5 officers killed a day in this country right now. So it's a dangerous job, and right now we're demonized in the press. So that has killed recruitment in this country. We used to, Paris PD, and I'm sure some of our former employees back here can attest to this, there used to be 50 people show up to take an exam to be a police officer here. We're lucky now if we get 10. And out of that 10 to 15, if we do get, we usually will end up hiring 2 out of that group after we do the backgrounds and all of the testing. So we've been averaging about 6 or 7 officers a year that we're able to recruit, train, and get on the street. And then we lose them, and we lose some of those. So we have to stop the bleeding of officers. And the only way we can do that is to create a pay gap between us and the county. That's the bottom line. Any other questions? And Gene Anderson's going to outlive all of us, so in case you're
So we've got one, one favoring 70. Anyone else?
I'm favoring 70 as well. I think the pay gap is very important. We need to make a announcement and a commitment to our police force and attract officers, and a salary that reflects that will show that Paris stands behind its police. I think some of the cities don't have the challenges we do with having 5 school systems and a junior college. And, you know, McKinney is right next door, and their pay is over any of these numbers that we see here, so.
I know I'm on the opposite side, so first I want to commend Councilmember Norman for bringing this up in the first place. And I think we're talking about numbers, but big picture-wise, all of them are giving a very substantial raise to our police. So the $66,000 is a $10,000 a year raise. It's an 18% increase. And maybe that does it, maybe that does not, but I think if you go up to 70, you can't ever go back. If you start at 66, you can go up if needed. So that's why I'm in favor of a raise, but at the 66 as opposed to the 70.
Mr. Ellis?
I think I saw some report, Chief can correct me if I'm wrong, 377 calls 1 month, is that correct?
That's probably more than that, yes.
I mean, that's a lot. And I know they're had a raise, we're talking the 3 different figures, but to me, they're worth it. And I think we ought to do 70. And the way Gene talked, it's very doable for us.
I'm not against the raise, but do you think, you know, we have a shortage of officers all over. So do you think it's the money or is it something else?
Good question.
As far as the officer shortage, it goes back to the mainstream media. You know, when these events happen around the country, where an officer shoots somebody and then the narrative starts about the police are all bad, that results in an unpopular profession. It results in some of the bad element out there losing more respect for officers. It ends up more officers being killed on the street, and that's happening. So who wants to be a police officer at that point? So that really, really hurts recruitment, and that has happened nationwide. There's departments larger than the Paris Police Department that are hundreds of officers down. To retain, we're unique. Paris is unique because all of our officers were raised here. It's like I had said before, they were raised here. They want to be here. They want to be in their community where they have roots. So they apply here, they get hired here. They can leave, like I said, they can leave and make $40,000 more overnight. A 3-year officer can make $40,000 and move 90 miles to the west, but they don't do that. We have to slow the rate at which we're losing officers to local departments, and that is pay. I have already heard from other departments and other people in the city. Sulphur Springs is watching this decision. Lamar County officers are watching this decision to see if whatever this pay goes through, that we will then be able to start recruiting sworn officers, and we don't have to invest $100,000 in to train. They're already sworn, and they will jump and come to Paris PD for more money. So, you know, they say it's not always about the money, but it's about the money in this case.
Okay, thank you.
Can I ask a question, Chief? I've never been a police officer, so I don't understand all the workings of the police department. But is the working atmosphere within the police department with the officers' camaraderie, is that good?
I think it's very good right now. Yes, sir.
Okay. I know when I went with the fire chief, it was very good, very strong camaraderie. And when I was with you, they were out on the streets. So I just wondered about that.
Yeah, I think we have really good morale.
Thank you.
And I welcome anybody to come and talk to our officers and ride with them, and ask them directly. Of course, I'm going to say we have good morale. We
That was
do.
a loaded question, I
It
know,
was,
but
yes.
thank you for that.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Ms. Moore, what say you?
Well, I'm with Rudy.
66. Okay.
I wish we had the opportunity to raise teacher pay too, but we don't. That's in Austin. So.
You know, originally, I had thought back when this was first proposed, I thought 66 was a delightful number. I was joking earlier, it's 66 more than what I make right now. But I do think that we need to set a precedent, and it is time. And I'm fiscally very conservative. If you know how we run, I have to watch my pennies and nickels and dimes, and I think about our taxpayers, I think about how we need to move forward. But with that being said, we also have a ridiculous amount of crime, drugs, things that we need to combat within this city that unfortunately sometimes is out of our control. I do think 66 is a great number. I think all three of them are wonderful. My position at the end of that last meeting on Monday was to try to get to 68 if we could. I'm happy with 68 or 70, to be very honest with you. I think that's enough leverage at the end of the day, and it gives us an opportunity, like Rudy said, to potentially move up. I really don't have a dog in the fight on the 68 to 70. I'll be very honest with you, I'm more on the COLA argument. That's where you'll kind of hear me a little bit more, but I'm happy with the 68 or 70. So, I mean, I kind of still lose out if I go 68. It would tack on one more for 70, so 70 wins at that point. And I believe during our discussions with Mayor Pro Tem Savage, I know he's not here today, but I believe he was kind of deciding on 68 to 70 also. I would like to make sure that his voice is heard on this also.
I'll contact him as well.
Thank you.
Certainly.
In my conversations with Gary, he was pretty solid on the 70.
Here we go.
Very well. Thank you.
Now we will move over to COLA for retirees. Anyone would like to take the floor on it and have a good discussion? Not all at once, please. It's okay.
I'll go first. Again, I am humbled and appreciative of all the people in the room who have stood up at the meetings for months, absolutely. Again, I feel like there's not enough information from 2008 of why the budget didn't reflect, and there had to be a stop to it. What in that budget was too expensive that year. We do not know what's going to happen in our economy this next year. They just revised the labor report of 800,000 jobs, and overnight. And so there's some strains in our budget that we just don't know, and this is another unknown. I feel like another year to see where we are, because we do have another year to make the decision, would give us some time to look at all departments, and with the help of a new city manager and maybe a new finance director, there are some creative ways that we could get it accomplished. But for right now, I'm not in favor of it.
Anyone else?
I think there's obviously two parts to it. The service credits are the bigger piece of it. I think obviously some of the other decisions hurt our budget a little bit as well, but this is a one-time window that's been offered. You're helping current employees probably more than retirees overall. It helps the overall benefit package for all retirees, current employees that'll eventually be retirees, so I'm in favor of doing that.
So my focus, of course, is back to the police. If push comes to shove, then, you know, I'm going to go with the salary increase. I know that we do have another year for the COLA. I can't see that it wouldn't pass next year when we, if it does get pushed to next year. I do think it's important, absolutely, to look at that with close eyes, and as well as the service credits. I'm glad that, you know, whatever council decides, but we have another year that we can, just want to make everybody aware that if it doesn't happen this year, I can't say it wouldn't happen next year.
So that's a no? Or a yes? Sorry.
Well, let's hear from everybody else
Sure.
first.
Well, we can come back to it. It's okay. Absolutely.
When it was presented to us, originally, it was kind of all together. The police salaries, the service credits, and the COLA. And Gene explained, or somebody asked anyway, he said it's doable on all three. On the 68 and 70, I know that there would be a tax increase. And I believe on a $200,000 appraised home, it was about $20 a year increase. Is that correct? I mean, $20 a year, you do good to go out to eat for $20. So this is something I've wrestled with. I'm new on the committee for the council, and I'm thinking sometimes maybe the COLA could go to help different departments, Public Works or code enforcement. But, you know, these guys put in X number of years, and women, men and women, and with Gene saying it's doable, I just feel in my heart we ought to do the best that we can for all employees, including retired. So I'm in favor of the COLA with respect to my city council members.
Well, a few words. I'm in favor of the COLA.
Ms. Norman, you want me to go or you want to go next?
Go ahead.
Okay. The police salary was a no-brainer. We need that. Regarding the COLA for the retirees, absolutely needed. My position on this is there's a lot of men and women that have worked hard for this city. I get on social media a lot, and there's a lot of disrespect that's flown left and right, and it's unbelievable. But the amount of pride that I see that's missing sometimes is frustrating to me. And I would be remiss if I didn't state that. I want citizens of this community to feel proud to be citizens, to have pride in working in this community, working for this city. You got to have that pride, and it starts somewhere. What frustrates me is this thing was let go. Now, I don't know what happened back there, and it is very frustrating that we don't know that. We should know that. I would love to know that. Heck, I would love to know why we didn't get some of the other things passed in the past. But I want to stand up today and say I want to support a raise in this retirement policy, in this COLA, and really in the USC, just because that will help us to now recruit better, retain better in all positions. So that would benefit all departments. We need it badly. And I know we get so many complaints.
Are you prepared with the tax increase as well?
I think we have to. It's inevitable, unfortunately. Year after year, we've kind of just stayed, at just a neutral level. And I appreciate that. But right now, we're in a pretty hard time in this city, and we've got to unfortunately put in. The more we put in, the more we're going to get out. And if we don't do it, then are we going to pass the buck on to our kids, to our grandkids, right? And I don't want another wastewater treatment plant 20 years from now that we discuss looking back, hey, why didn't they do that, right? So my vote on this, on the COLA, is definitely, I think it's a yes. For me also, I know we have another year, and I think that's wonderful. I think that's great. It's just, I know it's, Gene, correct me if I'm wrong, it's going to be a more advantageous hit for us to hit it now as opposed to next year. It's going to be a lot more expensive next year if we start, correct?
There would be some small increase in it. I haven't calculated that, don't know if it's calculable at this point, but it just stands to reason you've got another year involved that it would be slightly more.
Seeing that we've gone with the police salary to 70, that would mean if we did this COLA, it would be a 3-year participation, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
It'd be a 3-year plan to get the reoccurring revenue up to the level where it can support that on its own.
Yes.
No.
Ms. Norman.
It's passing with a majority. I mean, I would love to see the more equal budget toward all departments, but that
Okay. We'll move on to the updated service credits for current employees.
Well, if you're doing the COLA,
Oh, yeah, it's already-
that updated service credit comes along with that, so
Okay.
that would be an automatic yes.
Okay. All right. Is there anything else that you're needing right now?
If you had mentioned taxes, that would think that would be a good time to have this conversation to, if you are dedicating, you're dedicating not only yourselves, but future councils to that 3-year. And I would suggest even those that did not say 70 for the salary, once the council's locked in, then that is your new tax rate for the next 3 years. So I would think that would be an appropriate time to have a conversation about that.
Well, I mean, it was an either or for me. I mean, my priority was the police, and if it was an either or, then I was going to choose the police. If it's not an either or, and we're in agreement that we are going to raise taxes, then yes, the 3-year commitment to do that, because I do not want to, I want to have a balanced budget, as Gene likes, but I also don't want to be Chicago or these cities who can't fund their pensions and are falling apart because of retirement plans. We see it on the news as well. That's my only goal. I mean, it's not to disrespect any of the people in the room and what we're trying to accomplish all together, but I also want our parks to stay pretty and our roads to stay safe and our communities to grow and be prosperous. So,
I completely agree. I think you make a great point. And we've found ourselves in a really tough situation where we need more revenue in this city. We just do. As you know, inflation has wreaked havoc everywhere in this nation, and now's the time, unfortunately, that we're now having to look at tax rates. So I think, as much as I hate to say it, I think we need to have an increase. But that's the inevitable cost. I mean, if we want a safer town, a safer community in general, just that alone, we're going to need more money to float the budget. So I agree with that.
And the tough part is, obviously, I think that's a slight deficit budget for 2-3 years, depending on how many police officers we hire. It will hurt us in the next couple of years on capital projects a little bit, but I think it's something that's needed.
Agree.
Great. Mr. Ellis, Ms. Moore, anything else you'd like to add?
Do what we need to do to take care of the city.
Yes, sir. I'll state this also. I know we've had good discussions on this the last few weeks, but in some of our conversations, I know we've discussed a lot of grants and things like that out within the federal government that we could take advantage of. Talking to U.S. Representative Fallon's office, there's a great deal of opportunity where his office is willing to help us find grants that they could help with. I think we need to potentially come up with a subcommittee of sorts within council and involve the public in it too, potentially, to see, hey, what are some of the things that we would want to see funded, and if Representative Fallon's office can help us, we got to do whatever we can to research and make sure. But we pay our taxes. We need to get that money back to be able to put back to the community we love, rather than some of that money going somewhere else. So I'm in full agreement on that, and I would love to bring that up as another agenda item in the future to be able to plan that out.
Okay.
I know we've got a lot on our plate as it is, but boy, it's something that even his office has contacted me several times saying, hey, what are some of those items that you want to tackle? And I don't want to be the lone person to say that. I want this to be a community project to say, hey, this is what we need to tackle.
Great.
So.
We can definitely get that added to a future agenda.
Fantastic. Is there anything else you all need from us?
Not so much from you. Thank you for that information. That gives Gene and myself some clear direction. Janice will now go over the budget timeline so we know what the expectation is.
You all have a meeting on Monday, as you know. Your agenda packets are already in your emails. So you'll be calling public hearings for the proposed tax rate and for the budget. Those hearings will be at your regular council meeting on September the 9th, at which time there will be an item for you all to adopt the budget, as you've seen it in the few changes that have been made. And then you'll have a special meeting on September the 10th for 2 items only, and that's to ratify the property tax increase as required by Chapter 26 of the Texas Tax Code, and the ordinance fixing the tax rate and the tax levy. That's it.
Okay. Nothing else? Am I able to state one more comment? Out of all the budget conversations we've had in the past, and I don't know, maybe Gene, maybe Stephanie, Janice, anyone, have we had this robust of a conversation in the past?
Not always, no.
Sometimes, but not always. Well, I'm glad and I'm proud to be on this council with these individuals right here. They have worked really hard to bring in and ask these questions. I appreciate city staff to take out the time to cater to each one of us and ask these questions. And you guys have been very, very informative, trying to bring the best information you can to best inform us. So I appreciate that tremendously. And I just wanted to just say that for the record. If anyone else wanted to add to that, feel free. But we appreciate you all.
Thank you.
Tremendously so. All right. Well, we will move on to agenda item number 5, and that is adjournment. I'll hear a motion.
I'll make it.
We got a motion from Ms. Norman, motion from Mr. Ellis. We are adjourned.